Good day everyone. We are the group 9 and we will be now discussing about love and country. But first, let me define what is country. The country is ourselves and the land where we live. It is a patriotic to love our country. It also has a moral duty because the fulfillment of our social nature requires it. We cannot be self sufficient in everything. Our human destiny is intertwined with that of others country, state, and government. In ordinary speech, the country means either the land, the people, or the government of the state. As the land, we refer to it as a fatherland and motherland, implying that it is the place of our birth. We identify with the land not only as the source of our wealth and livelihood, but precisely as a spiritual and biblical cord linking us with the past, present, and future. Country means also people, ourselves. It is a community of a persons united by the same ideals. In the sense, country is called a state. Let us now talk about the nature of state. The state is defined as a perfect natural union of families, established from the common temporal good under a definite government. The state is a natural society because it is expressive of human nature towards group cohesiveness. It is a perfect society because it is complete in itself and does not require a higher form of society to regulate its function. It is a union of families because it takes the family as its basic unit and the members thereof as its citizens. It is for the common temporal good because its primary purpose is the physical survival and prosperity of its member. It is an under a definite government because it determines authority and the rule of law as essential to its integration.
Country means also government. This refers to the body of principles, moral standards, and laws in which the function and goals of the state shall be administered and attained. Aristotle refers to government as constitution. Let's proceed. Types of government. This state derives its character from the type of government it adopts. That type of government in turn differs according to the purposes of the body of the people to be governed. Aristotle distinguishes six different types of government. The number one is monarchy, a government conducted by a single person in the public interest. Number two is tyranny, a government conducted by a single person primarily for his own private interests. Number three is aristocracy, a government conducted by majority in the public interest. Number four is oligarchy, a government conducted by majority for their own interests. Number five is polity, a government conducted by the majority of people for the public interest. And the last one is democracy, a government conducted by a majority of the people primarily for their own interests. The best practicable government, according to Aristotle, is a combination of democracy and oligarchy, since that provides the neither for rich nor the poor possesses supreme power.
Democracy and the communism. What is the significant in our day? It's that ideological conflict between the democracy and the communism. As a system of government, both systems seek the common temporal good of the people, but they differ their interpretation of the ultimate good of human society. Frank Schied points out the conflict in their opposing view about man's nature. Democracy assumes the dignity of man as the aspect of human rights, as inalienable. Communism regards man as the tools of the state in the establishing a classes society. Uh, to say that the Filipinos prefer democracy as the moral justifiable than the communism, the tenets of the democracy are more than consist with our concept of the natural. This is not to say that democracy is morality perfect. Any human system of government will always manifest the limitation of human mind and will.
Let's proceed to the duties of the state. The prime duty of government is to serve and to protect the people. The government may call upon the people to defend the state and in the fulfillment thereof. All citizens may be required under conditions provided by law to render personal, military, or civil service. Our Constitution embodies the state policies which are the foundation of rights and duties of government and people. We refer to Article 2 of our Constitution and make mention of the following. Section 10. The state shall promote social justice in all phases of national development. Section 11. The state values of the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. Section 12. The state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basis autonomous social institution. Section 14. The state recognizes the role of human in nation building and shall ensure the fundamental equality before the women and men. Section 15. The state shall protect and promote the right to health the people and instill health consciousness among them. Section 18. The state affirms labor as a primary social economic force. Section 20. The state recognizes the indispensable role of the private sector, encourage private enterprise and provides incentives to needed investment. Section 21. The state recognizes and promotes the rights of indigenous culture communities within the framework of national unity and development. Section 28. The state shall maintain an honesty and integrity in the public service and take positive and effective measuring against graft.
Duties of citizen. We may draw from the state policies the general duties of a citizen insofar as he is a member of the state. Number one, to preserve the integrity of the state and to protect it from enemies from within and from without. Number two, to respect duty constituted authority and to be able by the laws of the land. Number three, to contribute and support public works and services through payment of taxes. Number four, to promote personal hygiene and environmental sanitation. Number five, to contribute to progress and prosperity through honest works and industry. Number six, to secure peace and order by respecting the rights of others. Number seven, to fight oppression and denounce inequality. Number eight, to develop oneself through education and to acquire a skill contributory to the process of society. Number nine, to render public service efficiently and honestly. And lastly, to exercise vigilance and fight abuse of public official.
Let now proceed to the nationalism. Nationalism, it is a moral value that sums up one's love for country and countrymen. Padre Horacio de la Cuesta says that the nationalism is two things. It is first an ideology that is a concept of what nation is, what it can be, and what it ought to be. Second, it is a commitment and that is recognized and accepted duty to help develop and to help defend one's nation so conceived. He defined a nation as a people with common political allegiance. This allegiance comes from tradition, consensus, and compact. First is tradition. It is it's the shared historic experience from which a nation derives its principle and values. Second is consensus. Is the shared understanding of what a nation is and its purpose. The consensus clarifies the distinction between the common good and private interests, rights and duties, personal and national identity. Third is compact. It is the shared agreement among the citizen based on the traditions and consensus. Nationalism presupposes such as values as pagsasarili, pagkakaisa, pagkabayani, and pakikipagkapwa-tao. The Kanya-Kanya syndrome. Filipinos are often criticized for being preoccupied with their private interests as to lose sight altogether for the public good. This the cult of the self, the Kanya-Kanya mentality. The bayanihan spirit is the antidote to the selfishness of Kanya-Kanya mentality. We must learn to identify our self-interest and at the time subordinate it to the public interest. The EDSA revolution of February 1986 is significant precisely because of the people power which saw us united in mind and soul to topple a dictatorship at the risk of our own lives. Two other faults which drain our national human resources are colonial mentality and the so-called crab mentality. The former depletes our national pride, regulating ourselves to corner or the backseat. The worst thing is that we seem to enjoy our inferiority complex, confusing it with the meekness of a martyr. Filipinos feeling themselves underdog find it easier to empathize with the mahina, the kaawa-awa, or the api-apihan. Filipinos have poor self-image of themselves. The crab mentality render us contentious and contumelious. We waste too much time and efforts debating and arguing how to downgrade a person or an idea. We fear the success of others. We would rather see us all fall than have someone else be declared a winner.
Subversion and rebellion. The worst manifestation of crab mentality is power grabbing. Subversion and rebellion are means of grabbing power from a legitimate authority. Subversion is an act intended to discredit, weaken, or overthrow an established civil government. Rebellion is taking up of arms to overthrow an existing government. Subversion is immoral when it has no moral basis or justification. When the means employees are immoral, such as lies or destruction of property, when it aims in contrary to the dictates of reason, and when it brings more harm than good. Rebellion has the added evil or violence and murder.
Coup d'etat. Coup d'etat is mutiny or disobedience to lawfully constituted authority. In a demographic structure like ours, a coup d'etat is an attempt to grab power from the people themselves, since such power resides on the people, on no one else. Only people that may decide and effort through peaceful means any change in government. A coup d'etat is a sudden and illegal attempt by a military organization or other governmentalities to overthrow an incumbent leadership by force. The law of requires that anyone else who would like to assume the privilege of governmental powers must submit himself to the people in a popular election. To wrest power from the people by force of arms, and trample on the very right of people which officials are sworn to protect.
Let's now talk about internationalism and nationalism. All men are brothers. When all races have learned this truth and live up to it, then probably there will be a peace in this world. It is self-evident, said Jacques Leclerc, that international integration is the unity of the human race, not in the sense that all men should have the same nature, but if they affect each other, then they ought to coordinate their actions, or this mutual reaction will end in fighting as often happens. Renato Constantino underscores the correct interconnection of internationalism and nationalism. Internationalism, he says, is a feeling of kinship with the people of the world, not with the rules or their governments. To be good nationalist, one has to share the goals of other people for a better life. Nationalism is the seed of internationalism. Nationalism does not exclude other people and races. It is, in fact, a step towards genuine brotherhood.
The need of international understanding. The task of international integration is not easy one. Since there are natural barriers between the races from the one, there are cultural differences. Each, for example, speak a different language. The same words or gesture have a meaning to different people. This is not necessary due to ill will, but each one is well off his habit of mind and action. What is important to another may not be important, or at least not that important to another. Each thinks not for assessing and imposing on others to him is important and necessary. And yet is essential that all races come to terms and live and work together. This is the imperative ideal of international integration.